something?
It's 2025.
Okay, 2025. Okay, so that's Covenant. That's my co-host as usual. She's whispering something. So yes, Covenant, hi girl. Do your shout out.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, our dear viewers. Good morning. It was Blossom.
Yeah, good morning.
I like the white and black on you.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful Monday. Mondays are supposed to be serious, yeah. But in my calendar, I don't think a Monday should be serious. It should just be
right?
a fun day for me, honestly. You are welcome. You are officially welcome to the Women's Corner Show. And yeah, my name is Covenant, aka the Lagos Girl. We have a beautiful guest in the studio today. Yeah, I'm super excited that the guest is in the studio today. But I'll just let Rose Blossom do the introduction of our guest. And yeah, happy new month.
Happy new month. Yes, of course. It's good to be here. Okay, the usual is we'll go for a tip. Then after the tip, we'll introduce the guest. But because the guest is in the studio, let's take a new turn in February.
Of course.
Let's introduce our guest before the tips. So, of course, we have Ifechukwu Adigwe. She's a performance consultant and emotional intelligence coach. She's a mentor. She's a master practitioner in neuro-linguistic programming and also a master family system engineering practitioner. Also, she's an author. She's a work and family integration specialist. She's also the CEO of Bloom Harbor Solutions Limited. She's plenty things.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so
morning.
much. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
It's
So
good to have you.
You look really beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
I love it with the
Thank
long
you.
hair.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's good to be here. We're talking about self-identity and behavior. And trust me, sometimes when you do not know yourself, you tend to behave some certain way. But if you know yourself, you identify with the real you, of course, you'll get better behaving when it comes to, people and even yourself. But anyways, we're not doing, jumping into topics right now. We want to go for our tips, and this one is tip on mindfulness. Of course, why are we doing this? Because you have to be mindful of who you are, how you behave, how you act, and everything, your core values. So let's quickly go for a tip on mindfulness, and when we come back, of course, we'll be talking with Ifechukwu, talking about self-identity and behavior. So we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Tips on mindfulness. Many people want to incorporate mindfulness more into their everyday lives, but they mistakenly believe that the process is complicated or time-consuming, and so they get discouraged from starting. The truth is, adding simple mindfulness practices into your daily life is easier than you think. Number 1. Set aside regular time to practice. Regular short periods of mindfulness can work better than occasional long ones. If you struggle to find the time, try choosing 1 or 2 things you already do daily and do them mindfully. For example, you could practice mindfulness while doing the washing up or taking a shower. Number 2. Make yourself comfortable. It can help to do mindfulness in a space where you feel safe, comfortable, and won't be easily distracted. Some people also find that it helps to be outdoors or surrounded by nature. Number 3. Take it slowly. Try to build up your practice bit by bit. You don't need to set ambitious goals or put pressure on yourself. Remember, you're learning a new skill that will take time to develop. Number 4. Don't worry about whether you're doing it right. Try not to worry about doing the exercises correctly. Focus on using them in the ways that are most helpful for you. Many people that find it takes a while to feel comfortable doing mindfulness exercises. Number 5. Throughout the day, check in with yourself. Pause, take a breath, and revisit your intention. Simply observe as you become more and more conscious of your intentions for each day, how the quality of your communications, relationships, and mood shifts. And 6. Focus on your breathing. When you have negative thoughts, try to sit down, take a deep breath, and close your eyes. Focus on your breath as it moves in and out of your body, sitting and breathing for even just a minute can help.
All right, welcome back. Yes, that's how you can get yourself to be mindful of who you are and of course the people around you. Yeah. And like I said, we have Ifechuku still in the building. So my first question is, how do you really identify your true self? You know, sometimes we have a lot of people who influence our decisions, who influence how we think, how we talk, behave, even dress. Do you understand? So how can we really say, this is who I am and this is not who I am?
Okay, that's a very beautiful question, because oftentimes when you ask people who are you, you hear people mentioning their names, or maybe the work they do, their career, but then answering the question, who am I, is deep-seated in what I call, the internal filters actually defines who one is. And, the internal filters are things like your beliefs, the deep-seated belief you have about yourself. They are like they form the conviction of who you feel that you are. And you're looking at the values, the things that are important to you. It actually defines the lenses through which you view the world. So it depends on how, how it is when you get into the car and there's tints. You're looking out and everywhere looks like it's, dark, but it's interesting to know that when you step out of the car, there's a little bit of somewhat of brightness, right? So for you to be able to know who you are, you want to be able to know what is important to you. You want to be able to know what, your values are. You want to be able to know, it's like a sum total of, like how you see yourself. It matters a lot. How you see yourself. Who do you say you are as against what people are saying about you. So you need to be able to have some form of self-reflection to know, okay, what is really important to me? Why do I make the choices that I'm making? Okay, what is defining my choices? Because oftentimes you realize that the experiences that one has actually shapes who that person is, right? So you want to be able to sit in to actually ask yourself, what is actually important to me, in life. So you want to be able to take time to reflect, to ask yourself, okay, what do I really want? Who am I? Why am I here? Why do I do the things that I do? You get so by the time you're taking some moments of self-reflection, it points you out to know, okay, this is who I am, and this is why I make the choices I make.
Wow, that is really profound.
Okay, I have a question in relation to that one, but let's ask your question first.
So concerning self-reflection, we know that self-reflection is really, really important. So do you think that our behavior is a reflection of our inner self, or do you think that we just adapt to it based on the experiences we've had over time with life?
Okay, so let's start this way. Okay. Who you are, what you do, is a function of your, comes from the inside, right? So the kind of thoughts that you have, affects the way you begin to feel. And the way you feel begins to affect your actions. So for example, if you wake up in the morning and someone says to you, oh, Blossom, I feel you look really like, are you okay? Is there something wrong with you? You may just brush it out aside, but then if she comes to you and says to you, come to work, Blossom, are you okay? You notice that you begin to give it a thought. And the more you're giving it a thought, then they'll be like, I'm having chills, I'm not feeling so okay. Then you notice that you begin to retreat, to it. And then funny enough, you may now go to the hospital and then you do a check. And they'll tell you there's nothing wrong with you. But then it started from your thoughts. So who you are is a summation of what you think, which actually affects how you feel and begins to affect how you act. So it's internal. Your behavior is not an external thing. It's not something that you just begin to do. It is something that starts from within. Yes.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Nothing, you're saying you have a question.
Yes, I have a question, and that relates to when you say you realize that, when you realize, okay, this is what you're doing and you're trying to find yourself. Now, let's take, for example, somebody realizes, okay, why do I always attack things in a particular way? That maybe, let's just say some few people, let's say your close circle actually, because not everybody can really see some certain part of you. Yeah. And the people in your close circle will be like, I don't know you to be like this, but now you have been attacking issues this way, that way, or you've been reacting to life or things this way, that way. And maybe it takes a while for you to probably, like, okay, how do you now take your time to now see the difference of how you do things before then and how you're doing things differently? And let's say, from example, the person has really lived their life, and you can't say my personal experience is what made me to start, attacking issues this way. So what do you think would be the problem when there's a change of reaction to every situation that surrounds the person, and maybe that reaction is not even coming from the life experience? So what would you do? How would the person be able to correct that emotion and probably be the person he or she was, or be better than, at least what he or she said?
Okay, that's an interesting question, and I love that. The truth is, the person is actually a solution of resolving the experiences you have while you are growing up. The life experiences you had. Let me say, for example, you grew up in a nurtured environment. Then you were nurtured, and then somehow someone served you the first. Then it begins to affect your perception about relationships. So when that particular person does not deal with that experience, it still begins to shape how that person thinks about certain things, right? So the environment that one also grows up in also affects that person's lifestyle. So first of all, before you can be able to say, oh, I want to behave in a certain way, it goes back to your meaning, your definition of things. How you see things is based on how you're interpreting. Yes, because human beings, we're all meaning-making machines. And that is why two people can grow up in the same environment, in the same home, and be totally different. One actually, let's say probably there's maybe physical abuse, and one of the children goes up to say, I would never do this. And then if you see the person taking intentional steps, going for trainings, trying to do, and then another person grows up in the same environment and interprets it that this, physical abuse is love. And the person begins to behave in a certain way, or the person, for some people, they say, oh, I don't want relationship. Right? So it depends on where you interpret it, and it still goes back to mindset. Because if you, first of all, are saying, oh, I want to have self-confidence, this is a conscious decision. But remember that the 90% of who we are as a person is deeply seated in the subconscious. And the subconscious is like a file. You know how you go through it? And you just give them your name, then you go to look for your folder. And then when they bring it out, they'll attend to you. So it's the same way your mind works. So your mind is like a folder, right? Your subconscious mind. So when you are having experiences, different things, it begins to store away in your subconscious mind, right? So certain things happen, you would realize that, when an experience that you've forgotten happens, your subconscious mind, something else will happen, and then it looks like that thing that happened in the past. It goes back to the folder and calls it up, right? So when you don't deal with certain issues, when it happens, it forms your meaning. So you need to know, okay, why do I think like this? Why is this? Why do I want this? And how am I interpreting it? Because your interpretation of events will determine how far you go, or whether you will stay stuck.
Oh, wow. That's pretty deep. This is really identify yourself. You have a question?
just take you back to how you used to deal with it before. And let's say you used to deal with it before in a very, very inappropriate way, or in a way that would not allow you to resolve this thing. Let's take an example of trust issues or breakup. Let's say someone served you breakfast, right?
Okay, yeah.
And there was trust issue, and then you go into another relationship,
Right.
How can you actually deal with this thing? Like, if you have a problem, I think in summary, if you actually have a problem, how can you deal with it differently, knowing that if you actually deal with it the way you deal with it, you will not make progress? So how can you be practical about dealing with it differently?
Like I said earlier, it starts with you having an awareness that there's a problem. Because when you don't know that there's a challenge, you will realize that you will still begin to do the same thing. They say insanity is like doing the same thing the same way and expecting to have a different result. So what if you never sat down to even think, okay, what exactly am I dealing with? What happened in the previous relationship? What were the challenges? How did I contribute to this challenge? What actually led to this? It gives you that avenue to be able to reflect, to be able to see the things that worked well and the things that didn't work well. Because it's only when you are able to evaluate, okay, how did this happen? That is only when you can be able to pick up yourself and know how best to work. But then, when you don't have a deep-seated meaning of what happened, or you are not defining what happened, it still goes back to the mindset. You don't have clarity. How do you move forward? So it's like saying that you want to go to university, but you have not graduated from logic. Right? So you need to be able, sometimes you even need to work with a coach or a professional who can be able to help you to identify some of those challenges that you have, and look at ways that you can do them. So you look at it, what worked, what didn't work, what can I do differently? Knowing what you can do differently, and then choosing to commit to take intentional steps, right? Take it to the right direction.
Okay, taking to the right direction. We almost get the right direction. Always get in the right direction. It's not easy, trust me. You see, in as much as you're saying it, in my head I'm like, I always believe something which of course people say, before you can even solve a problem, you must know you first have a problem, which is basically most of what was saying here. So, we're still getting to know ourselves, trust me. We are always, every day, learning about ourselves, new things and what we do. But anyways, we still have Ifechukwu in the house. Let's quickly go for another breaker. Of course, this tip is about self-recovery, rediscovering yourself. Every day we change. We get used to some certain things, we adapt to some certain things, we try to manage some certain so definitely there's always a change or a little shift. But hopefully we're hoping that it will be in the positive light. So, but let's quickly check a tip on self-rediscovery. Let's rediscover ourselves again. That's what we're talking about, self-identity and behavior. Of course, when I come back, we'll be talking about behavior. We'll be asking a lot of questions, and it has to do with behavior, because trust me, there are some people that say this is who I am. But when you accept me for who I am, this is not even that one said, accept me for who I am, this is how I act. Yeah. But truthfully, when they say who they are, when it gets to behaving at that same way they said they are, it's totally different. Very different. So anyways, let's quickly go for a tip on self-rediscovery, and when we'll come back, we'll be continuing the program with I Covenant and our guest Ifechukwu, of course, still talking about self-identity and behavior. So let's go. We'll be right back.
Tips on self-discovery. Our busy routines rarely give us time to consider what kind of life we actually want. It can be hard to find the space to discover and become our most authentic selves. However, there are endless benefits that make taking the time worth it. If you're wondering how to begin self-discovery, know that the first step is making a commitment. Your journey will require you to focus, take action, and prioritize your needs. Remember, you can't make a change without putting the work. Self-discovery is the process of understanding your true self, your values, your needs, and wants, even what food you like and dislike. You might have naturally learned some of these things about yourself over time, yet, for a lot of people, we have a way of losing touch with our values and hiding our own motivations and preferences, even from themselves. Going deeper into self-discovery can transform your life. Tips you can follow to learn how to discover yourself. Work to be your best self each day, no matter what you're doing. Take risks and try new things. Hone in on your passions and what makes you excited. Understand your strengths and consider how to apply them in every circumstance. Start journaling your thoughts so you can reflect on them later. Make sure you surround yourself with people who support you. Learn from your mistakes and move on. Think back to your childhood and connect with your inner child again. Be curious and ask questions. Build habits that support your personal growth and goals. Practice positive self-talk and reward yourself for your wins. 7 elements of self-discovery. Zero in on what gives you energy and what zaps your energy. Visualize the person you want to be. Follow where your passions and interests lead you. Let go of your inner critique and any self-doubt and replace this narrative with words that support your values, strengths, and aspirations. Choose a life of meaning and be purposeful with yours. Choose a life of meaning and be purposeful with your actions. Be proud of your power, grit, and resilience during challenging times. Benefits of self-discovery. Number 1, your relationships will thrive. Number 2, you will experience less self-criticism. Number 3, you'll feel more creative. Number 4, you'll have a better ability to focus on what you truly want. And number 5, your self-confidence will increase.
Okay, all right. Yes, you're welcome back. You're still watching Women's Corner, and of course, that is the tip for self-rediscovery. And like I said, we still have Ifechuku in the building, and of course, I have my co-host with me, Covenant, and we're talking about self-identity and behavior. Well, we've been talking more of self-identity now. Let's talk about behavior. I want to paint a scenario now. Let's take, for example, an independent lady. Yeah. Let's just use you ladies because this is Women's Corner.
Right.
An independent lady who is well built, probably self-confident, and of course, you know how a lot of men basically even perceive an independent who has, marked her name in the sands of time and still marking and still building herself, amazing wealth. Maybe not very rich, but very comfortable. And of course, such a person who has, taken life headstrong. Sometimes when they face some challenges, especially coming from maybe life or maybe relation, or let's even put it in relationship, let's leave life, because most in life they feel they can even go ahead strong and deal with it. But I realize most times in relationship, when you see an independent lady who is well made and has walked away through life, going through a lot of things, when they come into a relationship, it's mostly difficult for them to really, okay, let's put the word submissive the way most men want it to be. Submissive, they tell you sit down, you sit down, and even if you have a voice, at least for that time, sit down first before you start giving the reasons of why you don't want to sit down. Okay. But trust me, most independent ladies who built themselves over the years, when you tell them sit down, because they are in charge, they've been in charge of their lives. They've been in charge even at work or their businesses. When the man now says sit down, she first herself like, is it me that this one is telling to sit You know, because they feel they've built everything by themselves.
Yeah.
It's quite even almost difficult for them to really do that. So it takes a lot of, I don't know, no discipline, or maybe the person is head over heels for you. I think that's where you can have the moon button and she does everything. At that point, a lady that needs to really be better in a relationship, be able to handle the relationship, be able to stay under a man. Because trust me, it's very difficult for most ladies to do that. How do you think she can be able to manage that? Because I feel like most of these ladies end up not being able to even stay in a relationship for too long. If they even stay, it's probably because they are not seeing the guy every time. They are just only communicating and talking. But things have gone wrong because how they are. What do you think she could do to make sure that the way she attacks life, heads whatever challenge, I'm ready to, you know, boot-head it and, you know, go through. How do you think she'll be able to do it that in a relationship? She's calm. The behavior pattern would definitely be different from how she takes life. What is the best way to go about this?
And this is a very interesting question. And everything boils down to, what do I want?
Yeah.
Because it is one thing for you to want to be in a relationship. It's another thing to actually know what exactly is my vision, what is my goal for going into this relationship, right?
Okay.
And then you mentioned something about a woman being under a man. You know, it depends on everything about relationship is solely dependent on the key players in the relationship.
Yes.
Right. So generalizing to say, oh, this lady might not be under a man, might not be the best, you know, way to go about it. Now, going into a relationship, these are two people who have had different experiences in life.
Yes.
Yes, a woman may have also attained maybe the CEO level, and she's now getting into a relationship with someone who is just a regular guy. Now, it takes a man who has an open mindset, right, to be able to date a lady who has got it all, right? And then it takes a lady who knows that, okay, I'm getting into a relationship, right? And understanding again that, you know, she also needs to be able to adjust, you know, certain things to be able to have, you know, the relationship work in a certain way, right? So first of all, she has a vision. First of all, she knows that in a relationship is not just about me. Right? Also understanding that there are different roles. So for example, Blossom is a lady.
Right.
You are a woman who has different roles that you play. Right? You're someone's sister, you're a career lady, you know, you have people, you're also a supervisor or a manager, you have people working under you. So having that understanding that I am first a woman, right? I may be a CEO in my office, but when I get home, I must be able to do a role switch. Like, okay, in my mind, I'm home, or maybe I'm with my boyfriend or my fiance. Okay, this is not the office setting. So being able to know, you know, how to be able to switch roles, right, so that you can be able to achieve that goal. So when you start a relationship without having a why, you don't know why you started your relationship, you would notice that every destination looks like your destination. So first of all, she needs to know her why. Why am I doing this? What's my goal for this relationship? And am I the kind of person that can achieve what I really want in this relationship? Who is this guy that I'm dating? And even dating someone goes beyond what you want. It also goes beyond you understanding yourself and the core. Who am I? What's my personality? Because your personality also plays a major role, right, in a relationship. So it depends. It's all, you know, dependent on, you know, what does this person want? What's the goal for going into the relationship? Am I able to reach, you know, my rules? And what does my partner want? Being able to, you know, table these things. What are my values? What is important to me in this relationship would help this lady to be able to know what exactly she wants.
Okay, and also, I think we're talking about it before we went on a break. I do people, because I've seen a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people say, especially in a relationship, yo,
this is who I am, so you have to accept me for who I am. And they always make this statement when they are wrong or when they've done something negative, right? So why do you think people have this mindset, oh, this is who I am? They know they can actually be better. They know they can attack this challenge in a different way. They know they can look for solutions in a different way, but they just have a mindset of, you know what, if nobody can accept me for who I am, then that person is not my person. That person is not my person. Like, so why do you think people have, especially young people, why do you think they have this mindset?
It still boils down to the foundational factors.
All right.
How was this person raised? If you were raised in an environment where maybe you had a comfortable home, and then you had people serving you, and you have been made to understand that people are under you.
Yes.
Right? And you've been made to understand that you can show up the way you like. Right? It's deep-seated. So it's not something that maybe they just picked on the street.
Yes. Okay.
If you've had you've been in an environment, maybe there's a cultural background. Like I was having a conversation with someone this morning, and I was telling him that, you know, in this part of the world, sometimes it looks like as though a certain gender believes that maybe the female gender or another gender, they believe, like, let me say, even men, most men believe like, oh, if I'm married, my wife is my possession. I can do what I like with her.
Right.
I can do anything. I have bought her.
Okay, yes.
So if somebody grew up in an environment where he had been told every time that you are the boss, everybody is under you.
Oh, wow.
He will still take it to the relationship.
Or the marriage.
Right? So the family is like the production factory.
Yeah.
So if the family, the individuals are not raised, you know, in a certain way, are not taught the values that they should, embody or imbibe, it affects everything. So if somebody also, you're in a relationship and somebody tells you that this is who I am, you accept me or you leave it, you must also know that you have a choice. So you have a choice to choose to be with this person, or you have a choice not to be with this person. So it's not like you're boxed in and you don't have a choice. Women must be able to begin to get into the relationship knowing that they also have a choice.
Right.
You don't need to, go through demeaning treatment because you want to be in a relationship or because you want to marry.
Love that. I love it.
You don't have to put yourself low or be in a relationship with someone who subdues you, and feels like maybe you have to live, you have to walk on all eggshells, you have to be, in a certain way. If who you are does not align with the values of who you are dating, then you don't have any business being in that relationship.
Right. But how about when it's hard for you to now detach from this person?
You will detach.
Sometimes people find it really hard to detach. Yeah.
So when you say it is hard to detach from this person, it still boils down to self-reflection. Why am I in this relationship? Why am I holding on to this relationship? What is it that I'm gaining? What is it I'm pretending not to know that is happening in this relationship? Because a lot of times people are in this relationship because maybe there's certain things they are gaining.
But let's assume maybe the person is staying there because of course a lot of women get easily attached because of not even maybe the material things, because they feel like they love this person and they feel like we can work this thing out, but why is it this difficult based on my own character, his own character? But if you look at it, even sometimes you even find out that these two people, they actually love each other.
Okay.
But somehow it's like she said, it's not just working. And you said detaching, which I always said, when you have to find a way to detach.
So if for example, you need to also know what your meaning of love is. Because what love means to you
is different from what love
means to me. What my husband can do for me does not mean that another husband can do that. Another wife is doing that. I will not be able to do. So it is you still going back to knowing who am I and what is important to me.
Right.
If you're in a relationship and you feel like you're not living your values, you can't express yourself, then ask yourself, why am I still in this relationship? Especially when you're still single. It's difficult when you're married. You need to check out the children, consider consider the children and all that.
But when you're in a relationship, it's quite easy.
You know, it's not like it might not be as easy as it seems.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to, you know, a handheld. Somebody needs to handhold
Yeah.
so that you can be able to process your thoughts and be able to leave the relationship.
Exactly.
Remember when we started, I said that you are what you do, who you are, is a summation of, you know, the thoughts that you have, your feelings, and then your behavior. And every single time we create our emotions.
Yes.
So you have been able to create emotions with this person. You want to also be able to sit in to ask yourself certain questions that can help you be able to think logically, process your thoughts, and you can be able to.
You see that thinking logically, because ladies are so emotional. Oh my
They
God.
attack most issues with the emotions, the way they are feeling.
Who cry first?
Yeah, but you know how you.
We'll cry first, we'll say some nasty stuff.
Oh my
Things that
God.
we do not even mean. We'll say so many things and hurt the person, and man, they try. You just be quiet. After maybe when your emotions are not back, you now start regretting. By then, you can't take out
Those
And
words
that is
that
why
you
it's
said.
important for you to actually hold on. You know, just pause for a few minutes.
Gosh.
You want to say something. You ask yourself, if I say this thing, can I take it back? It's difficult, you know, but with constant practice, you're able to check, because there are certain things that we pretend not to know. In this organization, the CEO comes to tell you something. You know, you maybe in your mind you're thinking of snapping back, but you know you can't snap back.
Your job is on the line.
Right, so it depends on how you're seeing your partner. It depends on how you're seeing your subordinate. You're snapping back because you feel that you can. But
Because
whereas
it's your
if it's your
partner,
boss that
you
does
can't
the
do
same
that.
thing, you can't.
But a partner and a boss, I feel like for a partner, it's going to be very easy for you to, or there should be room for full expression of how you truly feel.
Like making a
Right,
mistake.
Yeah.
No, you make a mistake, right? But you can also choose how you want to respond.
Okay.
Because if we, for example, get downstairs and you see a military man, and then they upset you the way your boss or your husband
When you
upsets,
don't
can
want
you
to
slap the
slap.
person? You slap him and you're like, oh, I can't
You're
control
saying
myself. I can't
God
control. So you are pretending not to know that you have the capacity
To
control
actually
yourself,
control yourself.
right?
Wow.
So it still boils down to knowing who you are and why you do what you do. If I was to raise the King of England, for example,
Yes.
and maybe my child does what the King of India, my child does what the Prince of England
Yeah.
does, will I treat that prince the same way I would treat my child? That means that we all have the capacity
So
to
actually
choose how we want to
control.
respond, you know, to certain
Whew.
Okay, well, our time
Wow.
is up. We cannot take anything anymore, but I'm excited.
This is so interesting,
Yeah, I'm excited.
innovative.
Like you said, sometimes it takes a lot of talking and
Yeah.
talking and talking for some people to digest this.
Actually.
We've taken from different angles, breakup, makeup, everything. And here's another one of self-identity. And trust me, I'm sure everybody believes that she has done justice to
Exactly.
this. In fact, it's more like I should be asking more questions.
Honestly.
I have a lot of questions, especially, but of course our time is already past. But I
Yeah.
want to appreciate you, Ifechukwu, for coming to the studio.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you so
for
much
coming.
for coming, and thank you so much for giving us so much education about this. Because I'm not gonna lie, I learned one or two things.
Me
when
too.
you're talking about independent women having to be,
It's you.
Trust me, I'll be like, how?
Oh my
How are you doing this? Like, I've been making decisions all my life, so it's like, why are you making me?
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like, you know, when you're not in the relationship, once I feel like I'm not working on eggshell, trust me, I'm leaving, because I'm not supposed to be working on eggshell.
Exactly. This person's supposed to be your safe space and
You
all.
understand? But anyways, we can continue that one after the studio. Our time is up. Ifechukwu, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
I really do
again.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
But I hope you
I
enjoyed the show.
had an amazing time.
I'm so glad.
That's great. Okay, Covenant.
Yeah, we're signing out right now. Ooh, oh, I thought we were taking a tape. Okay.
No take 11:49.
Oh wow, such an interesting. I want to call it a session because I feel like this is therapy.
It's therapy.
for us here, and then for a lot of people, you know, that are
Yeah.
watching. But it was so good to be here, and yeah, my name is Covenant, aka the Lagos Girl, and like I always say, keep living, keep learning, and keep loving. Make sure you love yourself, and always know that you can change, you can be better, you can be a better version of yourself. No matter the challenges that life throws at you, no matter the challenges that relationships throw at you, you can be a better version of yourself. So take that step today and be better. I'll see you shortly at the bus where we get serious and we talk about the affairs of the country. Bye for now, stay safe and have a beautiful Monday.
And that's it. I'm saying no more. I'm just going to say bye for now. We'll see you pretty soon on the buzz. So until then, do have a beautiful day. And of course, bye for now.
Vacancy exists for the of professional driver for immediate employment. Minimum